Hey everybody, welcome back. Today I am going to be doing a video response for the Ryan Boundless video, Teaching English in Japan Sucks. So Victor has done a video response for this as well. His video response is here and the actual original video by Ryan is here. And so hopefully those won't overlap. And basically, I'm gonna do my best to not attack Ryan because that's not the point. He brings up a lot of things that are actually fairly accurate about teaching English in Japan, and some of the things that are really sucky about it. But he doesn't seem to go into much detail as to why these things happen, and so I'm gonna kind of try to stick with that as much as possible. All right, so I'm gonna play the video here, so I don't misrepresent anything that Ryan says. It'll be his own words. So let's go ahead and give that a shot.
And the Japanese teachers just lacked that, and also they completely lacked the ability to discipline the students. I mean, these were sweet girls, but man, they were little devils. I mean, the teacher had no control over the class. Not the teacher. I worked with several teachers. None of them had control over the class. The male teachers had less control than the female teachers, which is pathetic. And I mean, the girls were rowdy, noisy. I mean, they just walked all over the teacher, and it was so frustrating for me because I wasn't the lead teacher, so, and it wasn't my job. Like, I brought it up to the lead teacher. I'm like, you're not disciplining the students, and it's not an efficient way to teach because they don't respect you. They're walking all over you. And I was basically told, like, that's my job. It's my job to discipline them. I don't think I actually said that to the lead teacher. I think what happened was I tried to discipline. I didn't try. I disciplined the students, and then the lead teacher said to me, it's not your job to discipline the students. Come on, you're just a monkey. Now do your tricks. So, I mean, that's what I felt like. I felt like a monkey on a chain to a pipe barrel organ, and every time the lead teacher grinded the organ, I would dance. That's pretty much what it's like.
Yeah, in a manner of speaking, he's not so far off. The dancing monkey thing, usually more politely referred to as tape recorder syndrome, and it is a huge problem in the classroom because the teachers don't know what to do with the foreign ALTs that are in there. Most ALTs do not have any experience teaching, and any experience they have gained, they've got from being in the other Japanese classrooms in the previous year or the year before. So it's not a total surprise. Plus, there's no training on how best to use ALTs in the classroom. And so I want to dial back for a second. There are actually laws about discipline in the classroom, and some of them I agree with, some of them I don't. But one of the tougher ones to get through is it is not the ALT's job to provide discipline in the classroom. Technically, that is the teacher's job. Now, that said, classroom management is not one of the things that's really emphasized well in Japanese teacher training programs. Having participated in a few and helped out, the classroom management techniques can be difficult. And most teachers don't know how to do it. All they have is the experience that they had when they were growing up, which is kind of something I think we may end up coming back to. This idea of straight rows, no talking, listen to the teacher, repeat what the teacher says, which is great in 1950, but that kind of classroom is it's not gone, but it's certainly on the decline, and it doesn't really fit well with how most students learn. And a lot of the stuff that you're doing when you're doing that can be done outside of the classroom. No need to waste face-to-face time that way. But it can be frustrating, and particularly if you are not well versed in teaching and teaching theory and why things are happening in the classroom the way they are can be difficult to get your head around because it's different from the way you were taught when you grew up and everything else. But yeah, the long and short of it is teachers generally aren't well trained as far as classroom management skills go or classroom management strategies. And so maybe help with that instead of just, you know, taking it into your own hands. Some ideas. All right, and let's move on to the next thing.
Okay, next I want to talk about the actual teaching, things that are unpleasant about that. Okay, number one is Japanese people just don't pick up English quickly. It takes them a long time to process everything, and from my experience, only the best speakers and the people who pick up things the fastest are those students who have either lived overseas. For example, they've lived in Canada or America, or they had like a foreign boyfriend or girlfriend. People who have had a chance to actually interact with native English speakers. But those that haven't, and that's the majority of them, their English just sucks and they don't progress quickly. I'm sorry, I know this sounds bad, but I'm just giving you the cold, hard truth.
Yeah, cold, hard truth. Sort of. And yeah, when you are in an immersive environment, you pick up English well, or at least well enough to be understood, or it makes life really difficult. Then you come home. What he's alluding to is the difference between an ESL format and an EFL format. English as a second language is what you get when you are when a foreigner is living in an English-speaking environment, for example, Canada or the US or any primarily English-speaking country, Australia, New Zealand, England, whatever. And what you get when you are teaching English in Japan is an EFL format, English as a foreign language. And while the situation has changed over the last 15 years, Japan is still an EFL environment. There are not, for everybody, ubiquitous opportunities to speak English at all. You know, you can't just have a whole day of English while you're in Japan as a Japanese person, because it's really difficult to find that many people who are willing to play the game, as it were. So yeah, people with more exposure to living overseas are going to have a different understanding of what English is for, and so a different level of motivation and engagement for the language, a different goal for the purpose of why they're learning it. And so is it academic? Is it for just communication? The biggest change since I first came here is the internet. We have YouTube now. We have Skype and Google Hangouts and Line and Kakao Talk, probably. You can find some English speakers on there, and a myriad of other places, Reddit and everything else, where if you are a non-native speaker, you can go kind of practice your English on other people. And so then, as you get engaged with the community, you get more engaged with the language. You're more likely to be able to start finding your own mistakes because you're reading in English a lot more. Yeah, so, but that doesn't mean Japanese people in general, broad strokes, are bad at learning English. They generally, people tend not to worry about it because day to day in Japan, you don't need it so much. You can get it if you want it. I've met a couple of students who have never been out of Japan, and their English is near native. But they are not common. They are definitely outliers because they've decided that this is something that they want to do, and they've taken advantage of the opportunities afforded them by the internet and people who are exchange students and friends of friends, and they work at it. And, think about, okay, I'm from Michigan, so think about people in Michigan studying Spanish. Yeah, there's some opportunity to speak Spanish in some places in Michigan, but most people in Michigan who speak Spanish, who are non-native speakers of Spanish or not coming in a Hispanic household, don't speak it well. And their pronunciation is atrocious. But we'll get to that in a second. Okay, so I'm going to step in here. I put this video on my machine and it came up to about 25 or 30 minutes, and that is just way too long for me to be babbling on about this stuff in a single video. So I'm going to break this up into 3 parts. I'm going to put this part up tonight, and I'm going to put the next one up tomorrow at 5 p.m. and then the third one the day after at 5 p.m. And I'm going to go through this stuff. Now, quickly, Ryan does have some good points. These are things that suck about teaching English, but in Japan, or really anywhere in the world. But there's some reasons behind it. There are some issues that I have. And so, again, I'm not attacking Ryan personally, but I am going to challenge some of the thoughts. So anyway, thank you very much for watching. Please like and subscribe and share and all of that good stuff. And I will talk to you tomorrow, 5 p.m.